We're on our way to the cube competition. We're driving to Portland, which takes about 4 hours. We just arrived at the hotel, and we're going to go sleep now. Here is our room we got. You can see the bed and the nightstand with all the cubes on it. We're leaving our car and going in to the competition, but first we gotta find it. We're coming down the hallway to Portland Cubing 2022. Woohoo! For the first time in 2 years. No. Actually, maybe.
I see it.
We're here, Keenan. You excited?
Yes. Looks like we need a mask though. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
What's your name?
Keenan, do it.
Yep.
So the first event was 3x3, and the first solve I did in over 2 years in competition was really bad. It was like a 16 or something, and that is extremely bad, but I was also really nervous, so I sort of see why. And it did not help the rest of the average because I knew I had a 16 already, and the average was just really bad. I made it into round 2 on the very last slot. So my second solve was actually really good. It would have been like my second best time ever if I didn't get a +2. But anyways, I would have felt a lot better about the average just overall and not had as much nerves going in because I knew my average could have been better. I was really sad with that. And the rest of the average was just not very good as well. So my next event was 4x4. So I was going for a sub-1 single and probably sub-1 10 average or something like that. I got a 113 on my first solve, which was pretty bad. It was below average, but it wasn't the worst. My next solve was a 103, which was pretty close to sub-1. My previous PR was 105, that's only because it +2'd though. And then the next solve, I got a 100, which was almost sub-1. And then the next solve, something crazy happened. It was sub-1, I looked at it, but the timer reset or something. I don't really know.
What?
It just, I turned it down and then it just, I might have hit the off button. I'm not sure. Kit came over and asked what happened, and he has to look at the recording, but it was kind of hard to tell because the table was shaking. So they gave me a resolve, and then I got my sub-1. I got a 58.85. My last solve was actually a 115, which was the worst solve of the average, which was pretty bad, but I'm happy with my 105 average. So we're having lunch, SpaghettiOs. got some chips and dip, some lentils for supper. We're having fun. I also have a sandwich. After the 4x4 round, it was blindfolded time, and I went into this event with hardly any practice. Like, I did like a couple solves before, but other than that, I hadn't really done any practice in 2 years since the last competition I had blindfolded in 2020. So the first solve I went really safe, and it took me several minutes to memorize, longer than it should have, because I was going safe and rechecking everything several times, making sure I could remember it. The final time was like 9 minutes, and I think I was like an edge or two off. And then the next solve, they told me I only had less than 6 minutes to do it, so I did it in less than 6 minutes. And I think I made one mistake in the middle. I did something and I'm like, wait, was that wrong? And I didn't want to undo it, because if it was right, then I would have just screwed it up. So that's why I messed up on the second one. Otherwise, it would have been like a 5-minute success, which would have made me really happy. So, next event is everyone's favorite, clock. So I had never competed in it before, and when he lifted up the cover, I accidentally hit one of the pins, which made it a DNF. So they gave me a resolve. On the second solve, I made sure to not hit one of the pins, and unfortunately I solved it upside down, so it was a DNF. So third solve was a DNF, the fourth solve I got a 34, and the fifth solve I didn't get to do. Going into square one, which I sort of enjoyed, I averaged about 40 seconds, and I was hoping to get an average, but the cumulative time limit was about 3 minutes. So the first solve was 41, then 56, which I messed up on. The third solve was 39, which I did the H perm on the top with the left, or the big bar on the left. And the last solve, I got a DNF because I went over the time, so I got a DNF average, which was sort of unfortunate, but I didn't get parity at all. Now in my competition, there was Max Xiao and Samir Agarwal, which were ranked number 1 and number 2 in the world for square one average, and both of them had the chance to get a world record average. Samir got really close. He got a low 6 and then 2 5s, but unfortunately he had a 7, and on the last solve he got a +2 on a 6.9, but if it was a low or sub 6, then it could have been the world record average. Going into 3x3 second round, I actually got a 7 with a PLL skip. Unfortunately, that wasn't official. That was just during square one warm-up. So going into 3x3 round 2, if I didn't do good here, I would be going home with no good averages, which I tried to tell myself was okay, because on one of my competitions I did that, and I was really mad at myself. But anyways, I started out with an 11, which was really good. My second solve was 13, which was pretty bad, and I knew if I got another bad solve, I would have a counting 13, which would not be very good. My third solve was a 12.41, which meant that I could be on pace to get a good average if I don't get another bad solve. My fourth solve was actually the best of the average, 11.03, which I was hoping to be a 10, but unfortunately it wasn't. And after I solved it, I knew that I could have a really good average if my last solve was good. And indeed it was. it was 11.51, which brought me to an 11.88 average, which I was really hoping for a low 12 or sub 12 average, and I got a sub 12. My average still wasn't quite good enough to get me to finals, but I'm still really happy.
Kenan, how do you feel?
I feel
Good average.
very relieved. I was telling myself if I do terrible, just to like shrug it off and say it doesn't really matter, because I'm not other than like telling people I failed, it's not really gonna happen.
But you didn't do terrible. That was
Yeah.
What do you think that average was?
Low or sub 12.
Nice.
I'm gonna be so happy it's 11.
What was
I
your-
did mess out. I missed out on a 10-second single by getting 11.03. Also, on my 13, or one of the solves, all of them, I done a little slower at the last letter just so I wouldn't get a +2. I'm just happy.
Woohoo! Congratulations.
And in first place in Square One with an average of 6.35, Matt Shell.
And in second place with an average of 6.97, Asher. And finally in first place with an average of 6.87, the winner of Welcome Back Portland 2022, Samir.
Hey, Kenan, how you feeling? It's over. You had a good day?
Yes, I'm very satisfied with my results, and even if I hadn't got that 3x3 average, I still would have been happy.
But it turned out good?
Just because I knew
Good.
3x3. I'm excited for next comp as well, because there's a lot more events. But I did get a judge in a lot of events.
Nice. Great. Well, let's go home.
Shout out to my dad who came along and shot a lot of these videos that I showed in the vlog. And although Samir missed out on an amazing world record opportunity on the Square One average, Max Xiao got the North American record for 3x3 single, 4.22, and Asher Kimagiri got a 5.9 average on 3x3, which was 9th in the world.
Yes. 55, 66, 60. Let's go.
I'm very happy that we got to go to another competition, and I'm very happy with my results, especially at the 3x3 average, and I hope to go to more soon.